Celtics. Welcome back into our NBA TV studios. I'm Kristen Ledlow, alongside our Ryan Hollins, our Steve Smith as well. Smitty, we're going to be waiting for these guys to get to the podium. I want you to break down what you saw from the Big Three as we take a look at some of these numbers, which are simply stunning. Kevin Durant led the way with 42 points, but Kyrie Irving added 39 with 11 rebounds as well. James Harden with 23 and 18 assists. I mean, what is it that you saw from those guys tonight?
You know, Kristen, what I saw was when all three guys are on the same level, clicking offensively, you know.
We're seeing here with the Brooklyn Nets.
Smitty, I want to clarify a comment. Kyrie Irving, the best one-on-one player that you've ever seen?
Yeah, I think, yes. I mean, as far as handling the basketball, yes, Kristen. Being able to break down a guy. I have not seen handles like this, and I've seen some of the best. And I've worked with one of the best.
Yeah.
Taught me the best is Isaiah Thomas, our Isaiah Thomas. But even Isaiah Thomas will start to tell you his handles in one-on-one play. Now, if you want to say unstoppable, there's nothing you do. Ryan said it, because Jabari Parker on that play, that's where Durant separates himself. That was good defense, but when a 7-footer raises up, what can you do? So when I say one-on-one players, Kyrie, degree of difficulty, because Durant is basically unstoppable at 7 feet, being able to handle the basketball and shoot it.
Well, I ask you to clarify.
Three.
Oh, without a doubt.
Hey, you're right. I mean, listen, we'll say these three combined are the best one-on-one players we can ever see. With all due respect to Michael Jordan, okay, and Kobe Bryant. But, you know, what's so tough is I play with Kyrie. I always said he's arguably the most talented, and I played with Hall of Famers, the most talented player I've ever played with. He can shoot the ball like Ray Allen if needed. If he had to be just a catch-and-shoot guy, he can do it. He has the best handle I've ever seen of anyone I played with. No disrespect to any other ball handler out there. And he can play, make, and pass. He can do anything on the floor. You just question at times motivation, consistency. If we got a nitpick in James Harden, we see what he's done. But now James Harden's in a role, Smitty, where he can facilitate 18 assists tonight. Everybody said he's the one-on-one isolation guy. 18 assists. Are you kidding me?
And I'm with Ryan. I mean, for James Harden to basically come in and accept that role, I think it said, whew, as a coaching staff with Steve Nash, because without somebody accepting that facilitator role, he would have had a tough go at it as a sacrifice. We're just not seeing the 50, the 60, but we're seeing wins, and a possible chance for this guy to get his first ring because of he accepting his roles, which is still 25 and 18 or something like that.
Yeah, which is still a pretty impressive role. Ryan, I want to ask you, not who of these guys is the most valuable, not who of these guys is the best one-on-one player, but who of these guys do you see as the most important to potentially contending for a championship this season?
They can't play this. They can't do this without James Harden. You know, James Harden has the ability to facilitate, score, and I always say he's a counterpuncher. You know, he takes whatever the defense gives him. If you get up into him, he flops. If you get physical, he gets to the foul line. But he can get anywhere he wants on the floor, and he's the most equipped to make those guys feel comfortable. Kevin Durant's excellent, but I don't want Kevin Durant bringing the ball up floor, especially not after an injury. And sometimes Kyrie just may not be feeling it. It may not be his night. But the one thing that James Harden has done is consistently he will make the right play. And guys, Kristen, I don't think that he got enough credit in Houston for making the correct play. Everyone saw the one-on-one. That was their system. I don't want to say there was no one else to help, but the system was created for him to take those shots. So James Harden, by far the most important, maybe not the best player, but the most important.
Smitty, same question. Do you see it the same way?
I totally agree with Ryan. I'm going to just add this. You know, after James Harden, the most important, next to me is Coach Nash. Because when it comes down to Steve Nash, everybody says the chemistry of these three guys. Let's talk about a first-year head coach, and when it gets down to when they're having these tough games, how do we respond when there's three Hall of Famers, some of the best ever, all have a different idea? I think it's Steve Nash after James Harden is most important.
Now, this team is quite obviously not looking beyond the Celtics, but the three of us can sit here and look beyond the Celtics if needed. This is a team that's looking to contend for a championship. So we can talk about their offensive numbers all day and night. But defensively, which of the teams in the Eastern Conference do you think could give this team the most problems?
The Milwaukee Bucks.
Really?
You know, the one thing about Milwaukee, we talk about how prolific they are offensively. Now, Milwaukee said, you know, we're going to take the defensive route. We're going to trade and go out and get accepted this role, Smitty, of a roller and a diver. So the Milwaukee Bucks are a team that's athletic enough. They can defend. I know the scoring's not there, but I'd be nervous about playing Milwaukee if I'm the Nets.
Ryan said it best. At the rim is the Milwaukee Bucks and it's Joel Embiid. If he wants to go out there and play big boy basketball, I am with Ryan Hollins. Those are the two teams for me. I would even say more of the Philadelphia 76ers if he wants to commit Joel Embiid to every trip down, punishing the bigs and the Brooklyn Nets.
Well, again, we'll continue to look ahead in the Eastern Conference playoffs, but the Boston Celtics are not done yet, and Brad Stevens is addressing the media now.
Hi, Brad. Just obviously a tough night. What was the difficulties? Was it just too much of the trio in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the biggest thing, Dan, we obviously started the game great. Our energy was great. Offensively, we scored pretty consistently, all night. But when they went and got going individually, I thought it's almost like we overreacted and started over-scrambling, over-blitzing, trying to trap, and it just opened up easier opportunities, and then everybody's rolling. I thought we did a good job in a couple of these other games of limiting the feel-good rhythm of an offense. Today, after they made those tough shots, I thought we overreacted, and rightfully so. I mean, I think obviously it's hard to watch those guys go isolation, and it's hard to play them one-on-one. But they do a really good job when you run and jump them, when you trap them. They get rid of it quick. They got good players in the middle of the floor and then great shooting around it. So we just have to be a little bit more solid. But, we got hit by a good punch, and we need to be ready to deliver one on Tuesday.
Ethan?
Brad, how important is it, even though the game didn't go the way you wanted, but for Romeo and Aaron and Peyton to get this kind of experience for you guys in these moments?
I mean, big games, playoff games, against good teams, in great environments. Yeah, those are invaluable experiences. I thought we showed our age some, but I also thought those guys did a lot of good things. And so we'll look at it and figure out how we can all be a little bit better. But, it's kind of like we said, when some of our other guys were younger, we don't have time to wait to be older. We've got to, grow up by Tuesday and be better.
Adam Himmelsbach.
Brad, you obviously seen it plenty, but what did you see from Kyrie beyond shots going in that was different tonight than it was on Friday when you guys were able to slow him down a lot more?
Yeah, he had a great burst tonight. You could see it. He had a great pop to his game, a great pop in his step. I thought that we did a poor job at times of being up in his airspace, but that's easier said than done because you're worried about the drive and you're worried about fouling him. But he was great. And, he's had a couple of good games here out of the first four. And, but I thought all those guys, Durant, anytime it got even uncomfortable, those guys made big shots.
Jared Weiss.
Brad, you talk all the time about when you have to just tip your cap as a defense when the other team makes a great play, but on a night like this where you're tipping your cap constantly because they're hitting so many contested shots, how do you balance knowing that you think that's the right strategy in that moment and having to make an adjustment just because it's not working no matter what you do?
Well, we made a lot of adjustments, and the adjustments were worse. Because what that did was that separated the game. And so when you talk about playoff basketball, obviously you want to adjust appropriately, but doing it a little bit better or staying the course when you're navigating a game or at least within arm's reach is sometimes the right move. And I thought, again, we got too scrambled. We scrambled too much after some of those difficult shots early. So, again, we'll look at it. We'll figure out where we can better trap and where we can be better sprinkle those things in. But at the same time, every defense in the league wants to stay in its shell as much as you can. And, I thought, again, when we've played our best basketball in the series, that's what we've done.
Harry Washburn.
Hey, Brad. They punched you to begin the third quarter. It would have been as many as 27. But you guys kept fighting. It seemed like the crowd was definitely into it, regardless of the score. Can you take something away from the fact that they didn't really knock you out? They didn't really, you didn't relent. Maybe in past times this year, you guys would have gotten discouraged. It just seemed like you guys just played through the game and were honest to the game.
Yeah, no, I don't have any issues at all with our approach, our effort. Again, we got a little haphazard defensively, Gary, and that's the part that we can control, that we need to clean up and do better. And again, there are some individual tendencies that we need to do a better job of and all that stuff. But the effort was good all the way through. And we've come back on several occasions this year and made it even more uncomfortable than we did there at the end. It was. I wish we could have had a better opportunity at the end, because it was so great to have our fans back in the building. I can't tell you, just being in the bubble, starting this year, going through the year. Sometimes you're playing in front of 1,000 people, sometimes nobody. But it's just like, this place is special, and the idea of being a part of a community, and a community watching a basketball game together, and especially here, I wish we could have had a better shot at the end, because I think that this place obviously wanted to blow the lid off.
Wrap it right there. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Close to 30 assists. Did you kind of get the best of both worlds offensively?
Yeah, I liked it a lot better. We ran more actions. We were still, I think, terrific in isolation, but we ran more actions, got more people involved, had a lot more assists, a lot more balance, and clearly we had a great shooting night as well.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey, Steve, I got two for you. Just what can you say about Kyrie's game? It seemed like on Friday he was a bit passive early on, and it seemed like tonight he was trying to set a tone early and being pretty aggressive at getting to the basket.
Yeah, it's Kyrie Irving. He didn't have a great game last time out. My money's on him anytime after a performance like he had, where he couldn't quite get into the game in Game 3. And so I had a good feeling about him tonight, and he was outstanding. So I just loved his will to take some of this adversity and have a great game. He was terrific.
And then Nick, it seemed like he gave you guys some good minutes in the first half. You talked about him on having an up and down game on Friday, you talked this morning about having to be a quick learner. It seemed like he gave you guys some good contributions after Friday.
Yeah, Nick had 4 blocks in 8 minutes. It was a plus 14. So, it was much better. I thought he was really active and disruptive. And he was really positive for us tonight. So hopefully it's something we can build on.
Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win. 18.
Kevin Durant is sitting down to address the media now as the Nets take the 3-1 lead.
Hey, Kevin, just a historic offensive performance tonight. Just did you guys feel in a rhythm right from the start, and what made the difference for you guys?
Yeah, I think we were locked in on the defensive side of the ball the whole game, which kept us engaged in the offensive end. We didn't force anything. We played within the offense. And, James was incredible at controlling the ball. Kyrie scored efficiently. I got some efficient shots. I think down the line, we just played a nice, efficient game.
Michael Grady, Yes Network.
Kev, it's unfortunate that this season even has to be asked, but someone tried to toss a water bottle at Kyrie, or did toss a water bottle at Kyrie as you guys were walking off the floor. Just your thoughts on just, again, an unfortunate act, and the fan was arrested, but just what can be done about, again, protecting protecting players in situations like this?
I mean, fans got to grow up at some point. I know that being in the house for a year and a half with the pandemic, got a lot of people on edge, got a lot of people stressed out. But when you come to these games, you got to realize, man, these men are human. You know, we not animals. We not in a circus. You coming to the game is not all about you as a fan. So have some respect for the game. Have some respect for these human beings, and have some respect for yourself. Your mother wouldn't be proud of you throwing water bottles at basketball players or spitting on players or tossing popcorn. So grow the fuck up and enjoy the game. You know, it's bigger than you.
Greg Logan, Newsday.
Kevin, along those same lines, how do you feel for Kyrie and the kind of performance he had today? And what does it say about his mental toughness, you know, to handle this kind of abuse that he got?
I mean, Kyrie has been through some tough times in his life that's off the basketball court. So him coming in here, this is sanctuary. No matter what's being said from the stands, he knows that, you know, everybody in between those lines respect him, respect who he is as a person and as a player, and his teammates got his back. So he didn't worry about, you know, handling this crowd. I mean, everybody throws insults at every player in this league. You know what I'm saying? So he came out here and wanted to just play better than he did last game, and we did as a unit. Wanted to play better than we did last game, and we came out here and executed.
Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
Hey, Kevin, just speaking about what you guys did last game versus this game, what would you say is the biggest adjustment? Was there a mindset adjustment from game 3 to game 4 for this one?
Yeah, Evan Fournier, 5 for 15. Marcus Smart, 4 for 12, 2 for 9 from the 3. We try to take those guys out. You know, we know once they get it going, their team can change and become high powered. So, you know, Tatum, he gonna get his looks, he gonna get his touches, but the other guys, I think we did a solid job on.
Brian Lewis, New York Post.
I'm curious, Kevin. I mean, did you have a vantage point? I mean, obviously, we could see some of the guys saw the water bottle after it came in. Tyler obviously saw it. Did you see it? And you didn't see it. What was the message from you guys, I guess, to Kyrie then at that point?
We didn't even talk about it. We know how these people here are in Boston, and we know how passionate they are about Kyrie in particular. And they still upset at him. And that's no reason for them to act childish, but we don't need to speak on that. We know what it is already coming in here. Glad we got the W. Hopefully we don't got to come back here this year.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Kevin, you guys had that stretch in the second quarter where you made your first 7 shots and built a lead up, and I think that was with you and Kyrie on the benches. What can you make of the second unit play in the early second quarter and that stretch you guys had there?
Well, they did their job. They're supposed to come in and change the tempo if we're down or if we're tied up, try to push the lead. And guys came in and played extremely well on both ends of the floor. James was the catalyst for getting guys open looks and getting to the rim himself. And, you know, once me and Kyrie came back into the game, we just tried to fit in as much as possible. And, you know, that second unit along with Joe, James, Landry, Nick Claxton, BB, they did a great job of just setting the tone for the rest of the game.
Malika Andrews, ESPN.
Kevin, at the end of the fourth quarter, it looked like you and Kyrie were already sort of poring over the stat sheet. What was jumping out to you then? What were you looking for?
Net field goal percentage, how many more shots they got up than us, and their offensive rebounds. I think we pretty much controlled a lot of that. They shot 38 to 36 to 40% majority of the game from the field, and they only had 12 offensive rebounds. You know, so. We look at that stuff, especially playing against this team, and we did our job, you know, when it comes to that.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Smitty, for good reason, KD had some pretty strong words for the fan that threw a water bottle at Kyrie.
I totally agree, Kristen. I mean, when you look at what's going on right now with a lot of these fans, it's just uncalled for. I mean, not only is childish, but it could be dangerous. You're throwing an object at a human being. I just think if everybody, you were at your job and somebody could come throw popcorn on you, could come spit on you, or throw a water bottle at you. This is a game. Come enjoy the game. Obviously root for your team, but there's no place for objects to be thrown at players. And it just appalled me, whether it's popcorn, a water bottle, Ryan, but it took me over the edge for somebody to spit on somebody else. That's the lowest of the lowest, and that's a disgrace.
You know, Smitty, things like this have always happened, but as players, we've always been told to be the bigger man, be the bigger person, don't react, you know. But I'm glad that with social media, these things are now having attention drawn to them. So at a certain point, enough is enough. And the biggest thing I took from what KD said, we aren't animals at the zoo, we are people too. So honor each and every man or woman with the same type of respect and dignity that you'd like to act. And there's a mentality that I got from certain places that I played. Some people buy a ticket to the game and they have a mindset like they bought a player. You didn't buy a player, you bought a ticket to watch a basketball game. So whether you like the fan or not, there are levels to the way you cheer and you honor yourself. And as KD said, even more so, you honor yourself and your family.
Several instances like these led the league to releasing a statement just earlier this week enforcing a more strict code of conduct. Do you think that there's anything else that the league needs to be doing or any other parameters the league needs to have in place?
I think to continue to make examples of these people who do so and to let them know, hey, this is how we can have a lifetime ban. You know, you can't just have your buddy or friend or cousin buy you a ticket. You will not be allowed